is the Sentinel-2? I'm not sure I'm familiar with that one.
The Sentinel-2 is a satellite that orbits the Earth relatively low compared to our geostationary satellites that are normally doing weather observations. And it's actually designed as a high resolution satellite to observe the surface of the Earth. We call them Earth observation satellites. And they're kind of intended for like forests and ice cover and this kind of stuff. Basically, you only get one image over an area every 10 days or so.
Oh,
And yeah, so it's a 10-meter pixel resolution, which means that every pixel you see in that image is equivalent to about 30 feet here on the ground. So you can pick out objects like houses or wide roads, but you're not going to be able to see like people with this kind of satellite imagery. But because of the return interval of 10 days for this satellite, we got incredibly fortunate that we got a pass over the eye of Melissa just like 2 hours before it made landfall. So this is Melissa at its absolute peak intensity. And we have this incredible image of the eye, and you can see right down through it. You
yeah.
can see waves on the surface of the ocean,
Wow.
and the something really interesting if you go look at
That image right there. Wow.
the waves on the surface of the ocean. You can see the
Yeah.
curves in the band of the clouds. It's something we call mesovortices, basically miniaturized circulations in the edges of that eye wall. From a really technical perspective, so part of my work outside of meteorology has to do with these Earth observation satellites. And they take three different images to get us this true color image, but they take images in the red, green, and blue band, but they take them at slightly different times. And so actually you can calculate the wind speed, how fast these clouds were moving, because they have this rainbow effect on the edges. So there's an effect on some of the edges of the clouds that make them look like rainbows, and that only happens in extreme circumstances. Think like the speed of a jet airliner will separate those colors. And so right on the edges of that hurricane eye wall, we're starting to see that color separation.
That is fascinating. The resolution is so high on this imagery. I'm almost surprised we don't see the birds that they found flying inside the eye.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can catch airplanes on this imagery.
Sure.
And so I took a good long look to see if I could see one of those Hurricane Hunter airplanes
Yeah.
inside the eye of this. But unfortunately, I went back and looked at the timetables for those flights, and they had left about an hour before this image was taken.
So for anyone who's watching right now, it's sliced in half. The image is not fully there. There's no satellite data on the right side of this image, because you were describing the way this satellite works. It's kind of flying around the globe, seemingly at random, right? Is there any way to, like, could they have intentionally steered this satellite to get these pictures? I mean, it was just luck, right?
No, it's something called a sun-synchronous orbit. And what that means basically is just that the satellite takes a picture at noon, basically wherever it is over the planet. So as the Earth spins, the satellite will just go around and around and around and around like this. And so, no, you cannot steer this satellite. This is simply good fortune that we had the satellite in the right place, or bad fortune if you say the
Wow.
storm was in the wrong place for this image.
And the margin of error was like this, because we're just barely
Yeah,
catching the eye
margin of error
What-
on
was
the
was a
slice.
few kilometers.
That is fascinating stuff.